Welcome to 100 Yards of Football today. Today we got a post-game NFL draft special. Today we're going to recap the 2020 Dallas Cowboys draft. If you like the video today, please come in and share it here on 100 Yards of Football. Helping me today to give you a draft grade on the Dallas Cowboys draft is my man, Bobby Butler, who was drafted in the NFL in 1981, a first-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons, 25th selection overall out of Florida State University. And the other gentleman that's going to be helping me today, he's out of the Metro Atlanta area, coaches in Clayton County. He's coached at Mount Zion, Riverdale High School, Dutchtown, and Lovejoy. One of the best talents here in the state of Georgia as far as high school coaching, my man, Kevin the Bull Jones. So if you like the video today, please come in and share this. We're going to give you a draft grade on the 2020 Dallas Cowboys. Jones, tell us what you like about the Dallas Cowboys draft, and we'll surely appreciate it.
Okay, anybody that can sit and draft, be in an NFL draft during this COVID time, time of tough situations, they sit on their $250 million boat, yacht, and it's in the ocean. It's just amazing, guys. I'm gonna start right there because we talk about draft grades. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall on that yacht. Just imagine you sitting on your yacht doing your NFL draft. So Jerry Jones is the man, the myth, the legend. But listen, he had something fall in his lap that none of us, even us here talking about today, didn't see happening. And CeeDee Lamb fell in his lap. And although defensively, they needed some help, they were able to, especially in the secondary, there were some high quality kids in secondary early that he thought he was going to get. That's who they targeted, a safety. Xavier McKinley was one who they were targeting. It just so happens that however CeeDee Lamb came on, it fell in his lap, so be it. But everybody knows about him. That was their first round draft pick. Great yak guy. Cooper spreads the field, takes the top off the coverage. Your CeeDee Lamb will be that yak guy. He'll be the yards after catch guy for them. Okay, I think he's going to come in and be a starter right off the first play of the game. That's what he's going to be, a starter. The second round draft pick, who I had graded as a first round, was Diggs from, of course, Alabama. Roll Tide roll, and once again, you're talking about a big corner. So they took care of a need, which was great for them, and especially since whoever thought Diggs was going to land in the second round, that's not how the powers that be, all the prognosticators thought it would happen. But he did land in the second round, so they did get their need. They really did. And that's what's important. Plus, they got one of the top three receivers in the draft. Okay, the third round, Neville Gallimore, kid from Oklahoma, from Ottawa, Canada. And this kid had a second round grade. And he ended up in the third round. Amazing, but this kid has nimble feet. He has great push. He's able to really do a great job of squeezing in double team situations, making himself small. I mean, he's over 310 pounds, but he was able to split double teams and did a great job for the Oklahoma program. I think that what's going to really help him is he's a good finisher, good tackler, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays nose in that four-man front for Dallas Cowboys. Go alongside Gerald McCoy, who was a very important free agent pick for them, as well as your guy from Memphis, I think that is, guy by the name of Dontarian Poe, Vincent. So if I'm not mistaken, he's from Memphis as well, or played for the University of Memphis. Is that correct?
Make sure when you announce his name, Dontarian Poe, Wooddale. Listen to real close, Coach Jones. Wooddale High School, and I always end it with this. He's from the 901. Remember that. As we do these videos, Brother Butler, anybody y'all announce from Memphis, today, y'all been on my rear end a little bit. All the people that's from Memphis always say the 901.
All right, but this is for you, Vincent, and from everybody, and you, Vincent, everybody in Memphis. I'm talking about Mr. Dontarian Poe from Wendell High School.
Wooddale
High School from the, listen up, 901.
There you go.
Very good defensive tackle. So in free agency, I thought that Dallas did a great job with that. So this kid is going to a place where he's going to be around some sturdy All-Pro veterans and have some success. He was All-American. He had 7.5 tackles for losses, and he had 4 sacks on the season. I think he's going to be a great asset to their team, and he will be in the rotation because he's just that good. Okay, the next kid they had was the Reggie Robinson kid, and he's a cornerback out of Tulsa. And this kid, to me, although on his film it did look like he was very apt in playing some coverage in corners, but because of his length, he's 6'1", 205 pounds. I can tell you right now, he's going to end up being a safety there. And he's gonna, he's just big, and he's a safety body. Even though it helps that he has played corner in college. Mm-hmm. Because if you ever get in man-free situations and he had to come in that box and take a tight end, that'll be fine. He'll be well enough to do that. What I like about this kid, though, is he works well in tight confines. He swarms people with his body, does a great job of framing people up, and he uses his length to his advantage. He's got real long arms. And, defense coordinators in the NFL, that's what you want. You want those kids that got those arms, so when they reach out for the ball, their hands go further than yours. So I thought that he's going to be a great addition. He's going to play a lot of special team stuff, but he is a really good ball player. But he's going to be a safety in the NFL. He's not going to be out there taking on them 4 guys running 4-2, 4-3 out there split wide. That's not his deal. The next kid I want to talk about is Tyler Badish, center out of Wisconsin. This kid was another All-American, had some injury concerns. However, there was something in his play. When you want to look for offensive linemen that are good in the run, never fear going to Wisconsin and that area to get you a big lineman who's sturdy enough to get his proper technique and just run through people. And Jerry Jones ended up trading up to get to this kid. And you have Jared Looney, who's right now the center, who's taking over at center. But this kid is going to press for that starting time. And if he's able to handle the pass rush in the NFL, he should be able to stay at center. And Looney will go over to the guard position if that kid can handle it. If not, it'll just take some time. But I think it was a very good pick for them because his skill set as a center, everybody can snap and step, and I mention that all the time. The next kid coming out in the 5th round, another one was Bradley Anay, a defensive end out of Utah. Anai, out of Utah via Hawaii. And let me tell y'all something. This kid is the real deal. Y'all gonna hear this name over and over again. When he gets them stars on his uniform, on his helmet, and he lines up, and whenever they open up camp and he comes off this edge, he's going to make some NFL offensive line veteran mad because this kid has got a sick motor. And I call it sick because it just makes you not feel well knowing he's coming off that edge the way he does. I don't know how he ended up in my grading. He was a second round guy, but he was high round second. So he was the Pac-12 defensive lineman of the year. And if you watch his film, all of his best games, it's amazing. I said this before to Bobby and you, Vincent, you can always tell how good a player really is when you look at who he has his highlights against. And when you look at Mr. Anai, his highlights against Austin Jackson, big tackle out of USC, who went high in the draft, and he also played against UCLA, played against Washington. So he played against some really good ball players. Okay, so he made great plays against those very good ball players. I expect him to fit in passing situations. He has this technique that, not many people use it, but he has what we call he long arms people, which means when he's coming off that edge, when he engages with that lineman, he posts his inside arm to that lineman's chest, and it makes the lineman pop back up, and then he swims and rips up under it. He rips up under it, or he posts with the opposite. He posts with left hand, and then he'll swipe it with the offhand. That's a technique that is hard to teach, but this kid does it in all his highlights, and that's a big deal because he creates space when he's able to do that against offensive linemen. Okay, so the last guy is the Ben Dinichi guy, quarterback out of James Madison. Okay, at the end of the day, this kid he threw for over 70% completion rate in the FCS level, which is outstanding. He had a prolific career as a quarterback at James Madison University. He'll be able to, come into camp and compete for one of the backup spots. But the biggest thing to me for the Cowboys is I would like to give them a grade of an A on their draft because they took care of what they needed to take care of. My only concern is the elephant in the room. And you know what that means. The elephant being Mr. Prescott. Please get him in there. And my one thing I can say about Jerry Jones, he's always been one of those owners that really he's a riverboat gambler now. He'll get it, he'll roll the dice on things. But I think this whole thing that's in the media, I think it's just a play on the media. At the end of the day, Jerry Jones is going to bring his quarterback in, and he's going to have some outstanding people to throw that ball to. They had a very good draft. His son, Stephen Jones, is doing a much better job, and it's just, if it's not really about the nickels and dimes of the contract, but at the end of the day, I want to see Dallas, even though they're not one of my favorite teams, I do want to see Dak Prescott have a great season. And Jerry Jones will spend the money. So cut the check, Jerry. You had a good draft. Get Dak in camp.
Brother Butler.
All right. Well, let me say this. Understand, I'm a Cowboy, I grew up a Cowboy fan in South Florida. I always liked the Cowboys over the Dolphins. I'll tell you that in a minute. I was a Roger Staubach fan. And then my son played for the Dallas Cowboys for 3 years.
Yep.
Back when they were 13-3. Now, this Cowboy team last year was 8-8. And the question is, will this 2020 draft push them back up to the 13-3, 12-4 level of play? I hope so. Day one, of course, they selected CeeDee Lamb, which was not the priority. He's a pretty pick. And you got to give him an A for the grit because he's one of the top 2 receivers in the league in the draft.
Right.
But did they need that at that time? I'm going to say no, especially with the amount of receivers that was in the draft. They could have found a better value down the road somewhere. All right. Clavon Chasen was available at that time. Right. Now, when I did my mock draft, I had them taking Trevon Diggs as the first player at corner because I gave him a first-round grade too, Coach, Trevon Diggs. But they got a great player. He's going to do great in Dallas, right, with Amari Cooper. Don't know if that's going to help them get where they want to go. He could break records, but I don't know if that's going to help them win more games. The second round pick, Trevon Diggs, I like that pick. It was a need, and I think he's a great player. I really thought he was a first day selection, but there were so many corners in the draft. A lot of them got bumped to the second and third round, so they picked him up at the 51st pick in the second round. Then the third pick, Mr. Gallimore, I like this kid. I really like this kid, right? I mean, he's a dog, Coach. He's a big player. He can move the pile. They need some more inside push. Demarcus Lawrence, to me, almost took the year off last year, Vincent. I hate to say that. I don't know where he went last year. I don't know if he was injured, but he played all 16 games. But it's like he took the year off. They need some inside help. They also, their first need was an edge rusher. They lost Robert Quinn this offseason. And so that was the number one need.
Right.
The number one need. And they was fortunate on the third day to pick up some needed help there. But I like Gallimore. I think he's an A grade. All of these guys so far are A grades. Even CeeDee Lamb is an A grade, A+ grade. But did they need him at that time? That's my point. Then at the 4th round pick, Reggie Robinson. I totally agree with you, Coach. He will not play corner on Sunday. I watch his movement. It's something about him. He ran the 4.40, but it's just that straight line. He don't have that lateral twitch, but he's going to be a added value to them. even with that. I see him playing safety as well. You know, they lost Brian Jones this offseason, so Diggs is going to replace that spot, right? So I think they'll be good there. And then the center from Wisconsin, Tyler Bates, great pick. I love that pick, right? Just like you say, Coach, you go up to Wisconsin and get them guys. Them guys are made to play offensive line up there. They are physical. They're coached well. I think that's a great value for them. And then with the 5th pick, this dude, Bradley Anae, Coach, off the chain. How did he last to the 5th round? They got a great deal there. To me, that's the best draft pick for me out of all those guys for that value, right? And so I think it's good. And then Ben DiNucci, 7th round pick at quarterback at James Madison. You know, they just picked up Andy Dalton this offseason. Right. But Andy's been in the league a while. This kid got swagger. And so it's going to be interesting. I think this kid is going to make the roster. At the worst case scenario, I think this kid will be a practice squad player. They're going to want to keep him around, right, for future benefits, because he could come in and end up being a backup to Dak. Who knows? We'll see about that. So overall, I give the Cowboys an A grade. I want to see the Cowboys get back up in that hunt. I want to see them win the NFC East, right? I want to see them just where I think they belong at the top. I want to see them win at least 12 games a year, the minimum. I mean, I love what they have right now. I love Dak. I love their running back. I love everything about them. You know, we got to get our defense back up to snuff, and then I want to see how they do it. So overall, I give them an A grade. I think they had a great draft. I just pray that it's going to push them forward and better their record this year.
Boy. Like I said, I think the Cowboys draft is one of the better drafts they've had in a long time. And I mean a long time. Maybe going all the way back to, I think their best draft was when they had the 75 draft. And you know who came out of that draft? Randy White, 901 Mike Heckman, Tennessee State finest, 8th round pick. Thomas Hollywood Henderson came out of that draft. Randy Hughes, defensive back out of Oklahoma. But with this Cowboys team, I'm going to say one thing that I feel comfortable with is that, first of all, they made a major move at the head coaching position. Got rid of Jason Garrett. Brought in Mike McCartney, a guy that has a Super Bowl under his belt. Had some great years in Green Bay. Let's don't look what has been talked about, his issues with Aaron Rodgers, but he won at a high level and really never had a good defense when he was over there. He had a great quarterback. Now, going into this season, I'm hoping they bring Dak Prescott back. And I hope that situation is rectified real quick, because when I look at the Cowboys, with this draft, they drafted everything they needed. And most of all, I know CeeDee Lamb wasn't the guy they probably need, but when you look at the board, he was the guy that, leading up to the draft, a lot of people was talking about he was a top 10 selection. And a lot of people saying he was the best receiver in the draft. And to me, when you got that type of offensive player, too good to pass up. And when you look at the Cowboys overall offensively, and I've been following them ever since I was 6 years old, and they had some great offensive teams, but looking on paper now, if they bring Dak Prescott back, you got a top, I want to say 5 quarterback. To me, you got the best back in the game from the Ohio State by way of St. Louis, Missouri, Ezekiel Elliott. You got a receiver out of what y'all been talking about all day, out of South Florida, and Amari Cooper, Roll Tide. You got a young man from Monroe, Georgia, Michael Gallup, 1,000-yard receiver. Now you throw CeeDee Lamb in that. Then your offensive line is still stable. If Tyron Smith can come back healthy, along with Zach Martin, I'm saying, woo-wee. This offense might be lethal. Then defensively, you're right, Brother Butler. DeMarcus Lawrence looked like he was quiet last year. I don't know, is that because he got the money? They say he was nicked up, but he wasn't the same player year before last. Robert Quinn was their best player defensively, and they elected not to sign him along with Brian Jones. But I like what they did in the offseason. I said the most problem that was hurting Dallas was they didn't have good interior defensive line play. I said they haven't had that great defensive lineman since their Super Bowl years when they had Leon Nett, Russell Maryland. You see what I'm saying? Jimmy Jones. They ain't had a dog inside, as Coach Jones said. But I'm going to tell you what, even though they went out and got Dante Poe, 901 Memphis, Tennessee, he might be alone in his tooth, and they got Gerald McCoy, who's a Pro Bowl player in Tampa Bay. Even with that, they made an upgrade in their defensive line. Then I'm hoping that the brother, Mr. Randy Gregory, finally gets himself together. Because if he gets himself together, man, we all know he is a special football player rushing the passer. Right. Then they got another young man. Man, before he got in no problems in San Francisco, it was nobody blocking him. Alton Smith. So if they get those two gentlemen back and get all those problems out of the way, their defensive line might be the best defensive line they've had since in years. Then they got the two linebackers, who I think the two best young linebackers in the game, and Jalen Smith and Lyndon Van Ersch, if he's healthy. Now, the secondary, that's where I had some questions. I like they got Trayvon Diggs because that's what we needed. I had him as a first-round grade. I think all of us did. Right. To get him in the second round, Jerry Jones, he was blessed. He's going to come in and start. On the other side, Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis are veterans there. We decided to resign Anthony Brown, so I'm fine with that. In the safety position, I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Jones, along with you, Brother Butler, co-signing. Reggie Robinson could be that guy that can start with us this year at the safety position, along with another Roll Tide guy. I like his name. Clinton Dix. So now you got a football team, in my opinion, it's one of the most talented teams that they had in a long time, and everything works out on paper. Even better than that 13-3 team they had a couple of years ago. As far as they draft, I like what they got. They got quality football players from programs that's winning. Oklahoma was in the college playoffs. Melvin Gallimore played defensive tackle for a college playoff team. Trayvon Diggs, Alabama, what more can you say? They got the best defensive player in the AAC, the American AAC, the American Athletic Conference. And then get Brady Ayin, the best defensive player in the Pac-12. Hey, man, I would give this Cowboys draft an A. And I think Jerry Jones, along with making the biggest decision, hiring Mike McCartney in the offseason, I think Dallas is back on that track. The only concern with me is that you had an A-grade draft, in my opinion, and I'm not being biased, because if you look at their draft, they got all quality players that can bring something to the table. The main thing is this, the situation with Dak Prescott. Bringing him back, I think he got a legitimate Super Bowl team. But that being said, them signing Andy Dalton, that's a message. It means to me personally, me being a Cowboys fan, America's team, Dak, you can hang out all you want and hold out. But we're going to be moving the bus, as Coach Jones said. And I'm going to go on what Coach Jones always tell me. He was at me today, but he always give me this cliche. One stone don't stop the party. Ain't that what you say, Coach Jones?
Right.
One stone don't stop the party. But I like what we did, Cowboy Nation, in this year's 2020 NFL draft. I think we finally got it with the draft and the head coach. Final words, Coach Jones.
Okay, you're right. At the end of the day, what is the NFL National Football League season without the Cowboys being really good? We've all grown up. Watched the Cowboys come in here in Fulton County Stadium, play the Falcons back in the day. We watched the Steelers against the Cowboys. Okay, we watched the Cowboys against the Redskins. What is football in America without America's team being one of the top programs? So I would love to see that happen again. You know, Jerry Jones, great part of him. He's giving people chances. A lot of times he's rolled the dice. He rolled the dice on Quincy Carter. Okay, Quincy Carter from Decatur, Georgia. He rolled the quarterback with Quincy Carter as his quarterback. He rolled the dice with Dez Bryant, even though in the interviewing process pre-draft, there were some things, there were some red flags that popped up. He still rolled with Dez Bryant. He rolled with he rolled with Adam Pac-Man Jones. He rolled with Terrell T.O. Owens. So he's always had this, Jerry likes that me against the world deal. He loves it. But here's what I will say. On the flip side of being that riverboat gambler and then being on the love side of that thing, at the end of the day, he didn't have Deion for a whole lot of, he didn't have prime time for a whole lot of years because the dollars and the cents in his mind didn't add up. He moved forward. Okay, remember that. He didn't get Emmitt Smith from home. Emmitt Smith sat at home to the Cowboys open the season either 0-2 or 0-3, and they turned around and finally went and got Emmitt Smith, and Jerry wisened up and went ahead and gave him that money. All I'm saying to you guys is this: the dark side, as they say in Star Wars. You've given out all this money to all these other players. You've got some really good draft picks. Andy Dalton is fine, but he's not Dak Prescott. And there's a reason why he's not in Cincinnati anymore. Okay? But if you don't give Dak that money, you can sit up there and try to hurt his feelings as much as you want. But the numbers don't lie. Dak Prescott held his own. The red flag I have, anytime you have a coaching change, McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers had a rough relationship. Okay? McCarthy out of coaching, Aaron Rodgers gets a new coach and goes 13-3, excuse me. 13-3. Aaron Rodgers did. Mike McCarthy, we don't know what you're about to do. We're about to find out if the problem in Green Bay was either you or it was Aaron Rodgers. We're going to find out. But what Jerry Jones does not need to do is step on that pinky toe with Dak Prescott, because at the end of the day, his agent is telling him, you better go for the money. So I pray that America's team gets back. Once again, my final word on it, Vincent, football ain't the same without the Cowboys deep in the playoffs, NFC Championship game. It's just the way life is in football. That's their America's team. So I would like to see them come back.
Brother Butler.
Well, I agree with you two guys. You got to get Dak back, right? You can't go backwards. If Dak Prescott is not in a Cowboys uniform this fall, it's gonna be the downfall of the Dallas Cowboys, and they're not gonna recover for a while. I'm gonna say it that way, and I like to say this too. I think Dak has been very patient. They should have worked this deal out a while ago, right? So Jerry Jones needs to get it done. If they don't get it done, they're going to be backed up in a hole. And I hate to see that, because we all agree that we want to see the Dallas Cowboys back in the hunt. I want to see them back in the hunt, right? And so it's going to be interesting. I think they'll get him in. And first of all, when you're dealing with your players, let me say this. You want to treat them all the same. But when it comes to your leader,
that's right. Show them love.
You got to do it. You coach, it's no other way around it.
You can't hurt his feelings. Right.
If you treat him unjustly, the rest of the group, I'll never forget you, Jerry Jones, if you don't do right by Dak Prescott. Enough said.
Vincent, and let me say this real quick, Vincent, before he played for 3 years on a rookie contract. So you paid him peanuts for 3-4 years. So how do you, after that much time, you paid him peanuts? So what's the problem?
I'm going to say this. Everything lines up for Dallas to be a real good football team this year. Be the favorite to going into the NFC East. Even through all the problems we have in the offseason with this epidemic that we have in the COVID-19. But the thing of it is, like you said, Coach Jones, and like you said, Coach Butler, it's in black and white. The guy's 28-16. The guy has won football games here in Dallas. And basically, if you look at him being a top 5 quarterback in the league right now, he, to me, is a top 5 quarterback. And I know a lot of people compare him to Patrick Mahomes. They try to compare him to Carson Wentz. But at the end of the day, it's like this. The guy has won since he's been under center for the Cowboys. And he's gotten farther than the previous quarterback, and Tony Romo did, 11, 12 years. And for me, I just hope they're able to sign the young man so we can move forward, because it's nothing special. You can say what you want to say about the Yankees in baseball, the Lakers in basketball. And me being from the 901 Memphis, Tennessee, where there's a large Dallas Cowboy fan base, it's nothing special in America. When you follow this great game of professional football, you even said yourself, Brother Butler, before you was drafted, the Cowboys were going to take you in 81. And you already told me how excited you was about going to that organization. And Coach Jones, even though you say you're a Falcons fan, you don't want nobody to know you got the scarf on that you love the Cowboys. It's nothing special when the Cowboys, let's go for you, Ronnie Keebler, and to you Giants fans, to you Eagles fans. It's all about the Cowboys, baby, because like Coach Jones said, it's about America's team. And when Dallas is winning, everything in your life goes well. Because like Coach Jones said, you either love us or you hate us. And that's what life is about. That being said, I'm proud to be a Cowboys fan since 1966. And all I'm going to say, Bob Hayes, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Harvey Martin. I ain't going to bring up the new guys. I'm going to bring up that guy from South Florida, Michael Irvin, the playmaker. And my frat brother, Emmett Smith. But like Coach Jones said, I don't have to say no more. It's a great day when you can be able to say, how about them Cowboys? If you like the video today, please comment and share it. We are 100 Yards of Football. Enjoy all the videos we put up today. We appreciate your support. Hey, man, we coming. Hope the football season gets started here real shortly. But enjoy your weekend and be blessed. It's been an honor, and we surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards of Football. Have a very blessed weekend. Boom.
All right. Y'all better pray that, man.
Yes.
Well, y'all won't be going no playoff.
So you gotta do cancel?
Yeah.
I think.
Jerry Jones better pay that, man. Or they're gonna be watching Vincent gonna be watching the playoffs at our house.
That's right.
You better start hurting that boy.